Hey, so this is Fi here, back with more Dungeon Hunter Champions content. Okay, so today's video wanted to show this milestone that I achieved. So this was about last weekend, a bit crazy. Finally hits 1 million energy spent on this chart. So, been slowing down a little bit, just because, I don't know, it's been kind of ridiculous. But, just, it's been a while since I've done a general update of the whole account, and I guess if you guys want to see where you could be if you spent 1 million energy on this game. So, anyways, yeah, so that's exciting there. Let's see, what can we show? I guess we go through all these lists. Co-op raids. Big shout out to Epic Gaming. We were finally able to clear Nightmare. So I don't know if you guys saw some of those videos. I put them up on on my channel as well. So feel free to check those out. I'll probably talk about it a little bit more later on in this video. I have some. I can briefly show some of the other videos of the captured runs that we did previously. So let's see, what else is there? Arena. Oh, I just changed my arena defense, so it was nice. I went from like 11. I only farmed up to 11 last night, and then I got some wins, which pushed me up to 5. So still did some losses. I'm not 100% on my AOs, but I don't know, it's close enough to at least get top 10 if I wanted to push it. I don't know, I feel 1 is so hard for me because your AD has to be really good. But I guess with Laundry Day, was able to up the buffiness of my, the tankiness of my arena defense mods. But 5v5 is still not playing, I don't care about. There are other MOBAs to play, to be honest, right? There's Arena of Valor on Switch that I've been playing a little bit on the side. But anyways, just if I had a team here, maybe I'd play more 5v5, but it's not a big deal. And energy spent, we showed this. 1 million! Yes, no life. I should really sleep more. Elder Drake, I'm to 20, but I never farm Elder Drake. This is still from the 12,000. This is still from farming way back when the game first started. Like, I don't know, I'm always on SW for all my energy usage. Summons, I haven't seen in a while. Yeah, #1 summons. This is all common discs, so again, I mentioned in previous videos, I don't, I'm a energy whale per se, not a summoning whale. So I'll just summon the discs that I get, and I get a lot of common discs, and because I have a lot of gold, I don't mind spending those common discs for fodder. I'll just fodder things up. Like, I think last weekend I did 2 60s with just common fodder, so just because when you get to the like 5k disc range, you just need to get everything out of the way, right? So it takes about 1400 discs to get from 0 to level 60 if you want to just feed them into a monster. But anyways, I haven't done that in a while. I probably have a lot of common discs and I need to do it soon. But monster box is getting too small. I won't do it unless my monster box is at like 150 out of 200, so I can summon 50 at a time. Else it's just too much back and forth. So waiting for that. Black market, I don't do black market that much. I'd rather have the gold to be able to swap runes out and just get any equipment up to level 15 if I want to at any time. So, but that being said, I don't do black market that much. I'll do it occasionally. I'm not saying I don't ever do it, but 285, right? That shows I'm not on top of that. BR3. Actually, I think I've finally surpassed Swiss here. Yesterday I did Monkey King and Duke Malika that I picked up for in preparation for, well, let's see, Monkey King for the buff preparation, so I can at least play with a Monkey King when the new patch comes out, and in co-op for the Water Week, which I think is next week. You need a stripper for the regen, so he can strip 1 buff. So my hope is that with the patch, he'll do more damage and can be helpful in co-op. and then can also strip that regen buff. So, but we'll see. If worst case, it's just a BR boost, and of course Malika. It's a BM, right? Good for co-op. Really, I made the second Malika just for having an extra damage unit in co-op, so we can clear more to get more gear, so we can run more nightmare runs. So, what else? Guild ranking, of course. Shout out to Epic Gaming. I don't know, BR, it doesn't matter. Nobody cares about BR. It doesn't mean anything. So, but yeah, okay. So that's the rankings chart. Let's see. We can show some AO, or talk about AO. If I show and play stuff, I think it'll take too long, but I wanted to show, whoops, what am I doing? Here's my defense now. So kind of variant on kind of the standard that's been meta for the past couple weeks of the dual cleansers here, plus GD, plus the fourth, right? Before, I think a lot of people were using this Red Dragon Guard. I was using this Red Dragon Guard because it is really nice, right? So, but recently I got this skilled up to max, and I was personally having trouble with this comp when I was doing AO runs. So I thought, let's just throw it in there. And this so far has been working. I think I did re-gear things on Laundry Day last night, so maybe that helped as well. Made things a bit tankier. Prioritize stats a little bit more. I'll get into the monster box a little bit later into the video. So, but I think it's been good. And we can show here, there's the revenge list. Ooh, poor Fear Lord. But yeah, see, it still lose to people, right? So it's not like, I don't know, it's still hard to get perfect runs in these things, I think. Perfect AD, I think. I don't know. What else can we talk about? I guess AOs. I'm not going to run an AO. You guys can see some of my previous videos. But to be honest, I'm still kind of using the same. Well, here, I'll ignore this portion, but I just want to see the box so I can see things like this. So this is, oh, this looks like an odd AO, but this is, I use this AO if I see a Basilisk on their team, or if I see the Dark MG. Basically added Sharma, the MG for more heals for my team, of course BM to kill everything, and then the GD for the strip, because you need the strip to then get the defense break to then kill things with BM. But what I found was like Basilisk is kind of squishy, so any of the defense-based ones are kind of squishy, just because of low HP pool and the really big break when you get defense breaked. So. But other things that I'll use, like in meta right now, right? There's a lot of these, the dual cleansers +2, right? So my combo will kind of change depending on that, right? But let's say a standard, if I'm doing lower ranked dual cleanser plus anything, like when I'm climbing back up, the team that I typically run is going to be Water MG, Ella, BM, and then just like, if it's really tanky, like really tanky, and I'm not in any concern of dying or anything, I will swap out this MG for the, oops, not the Candy Munchkin. I will swap it for the Pirate, right, just to get a little bit more damage down. Go pure YOLO, right. Other variants, this doesn't do great against the water, if there's, or I'm sorry, against nature, as the two offsets, right? So against some of those, I will swap out BM for Fairy, and then just run kind of the same thing, right? Because I think immunity really helps against the this guy, what do you call it? Dryads stuns, because usually everyone's on Dazzle, right? So. And then there is still the root, and if you're rooted, then you can't reach anyone, kill anyone. So at least when comboing Ella with BM needs to reach the target to be able to do damage, right? So that's where immunity comes into play. But other teams that you'll see, let's say a YOLO team, right? So let's say water AA and then like 3 damage ones, right? Just for pure, I'm gonna survive for 5 seconds, but I'm gonna deal a lot of damage to you, right? Teams that I will run for that are very similar, right? I will still use the BM, because I don't know. I guess I always practice a lot on BM. I know there are lots of ways to clear ADs, right? But this is just how I do it, right? So. But I will actually use Green Diva. I like Green Diva a lot. I want a red one, to be honest. That defense break looks amazing if it works the same way as her Disorient does. But need to play with it. I don't know. Guildies have the red one and mentioned that it's not. It's really underwhelming. But personally, I want to try it. Oops. But what will I run with? Oh, MG. MG is the third here. Right. I'll use this for a high damage. If there's 2 fire and it's a and it's a YOLO team and the fire damage, like who would I consider that? This guy, the DG, let's say the red GD, and then fire. Anyone use Fire Rhoda? Sometimes I will take the I'll swap her out for water A. Just because his silence is good too. And sometimes his silence will cover the cleansers, and then they can't cleanse, and then I can get the defense break into the, what do you call it, the BM damage. So, and I think that's usually it that I use for AO. Yeah, that's pretty much what I use for AO. Yeah, nothing too crazy. So, but yeah. Let's see, what else can we do? Oh, SW11 updates. Let's see. The team, I kind of found a new team for SW11. Oh, why am I going co-op? Boss raids. This is a team that I updated. So before, I was running, of course, Sharma. Sharma, well, let me talk about it. I was running Sharma, MG, I was running Red DG here, and then Pirate, and then, what's the last damage? This guy, Fire Ink Ninja. So, eventually I swapped it around. Fire Ink Ninja, I found that the Candy Munchkin would do better damage, actually. And that was if I gave her my Blade Master runes. So, and we'll show monster runes later. And that worked pretty well. I did after. I'll usually try to record 200 runs and then count. So, this one got to like 81% success at like a 120 min average clear time. Right. So it was good. I wanted to see if I could push the consistency up to at least 90. So I just started playing around with things, and this is the comp that was able to reach this one got like 91.8%, like whatever, something out of 200. I forgot what the number was, but basically the key to this is the damage mitigation between the invulnerability of the Water AA and the Water MG's ults, right? Your team will survive the breath thing and the lasers, right? I was trying out like a DG for defense buff, but I found that the Fire Rhoda or whatever, Fire Valk, has a more consistent attack break and disorient, right? And it's more damage. So that combined with the attack speed buff of Rhoda, and then the other things that Rhoda does, the attack break, it's for just in case, right? If these are down, attack break will be down from one of these, right? Of course, you need the strip on on Sharma here. So, and then the damage on him. For this team to still meet that kind of 120 clear time, everything has to be damage. Well, Sharma has to be damage. I remember, I think in my clear video in the past, I talked about having Sharma as a tankier mon. But now I changed my mind, basically, after playing with it a little bit more. I feel like attack, crit rate, attack is a lot better on him. He does do a lot of damage, like, with the auto attacks, and then it does scale with the heal, right? So then he stays alive, and then with the protection around the water AA and the water MG, he survives just fine, right? So, yeah. What else is there about this? Should we do one clear? Should take. Yeah, let's do one clear. Let's just do one clear. I'll show you guys the team. What else is there about this team? Yeah. Oh, so I guess build-wise, I'm running Adept on the Sharma. Adept, again, attack, crit rate, attack. So and even on the subs are just accuracy subs, plus as much damage as I can do for attack and crit rate and damage, crit damage. Right? Yoko is on, of course, Adept build as well. HP with I think 60 accuracy, if I'm not mistaken. Just because I want to get defense breaks down in arena and for co-op. And then I think this one has a lot of resistance as well. I believe the resistance is maxed on her for arena. But I did build a second one of her, and once I get the gear set, basically I want to do full HP, just a little bit of accuracy, and then no resistance for, of course, this dungeon and co-op. And then so I can have one for arena and then one for this and co-op, right? Water AA is also Adept. Now, I know some people don't use Adept on him because they say that the cooldown is limited now. But to me, I think it still works. And somebody clarify the math on it for me if I'm wrong about it. But the thing is on the 13-second cooldown, right? So, and the tooltip box says it's you can only cast the invulnerability every 6.5 seconds, right? Or 7 seconds or whatever, right? So you can still use Adept's 30% reduction and then the whatever 15% to get 45 to get it down, so you have it up as soon as it's ready. So to me, it's still helpful. I think I didn't test it in the sense where I had Adept and I didn't have Adept, but to me, the math still works out that Adept is still helpful. So, clarify that for me if I'm incorrect about that. But, anyways, here's the damage report. So, still the damage is coming from these guys and then the Sharma. These are on defense builds just to keep us alive. But, I mean, that's the damage that you need, right? But then also debuffs to make sure that the Widow doesn't just one-shot you if these guys' ults aren't up. Or invulnerability plus MG ult, right? So... And I kind of like this because you got debuffs from multiple sources for the consistency of the debuffs, right? So for example, you got defense break, you got attack break, you got disorient, well, just one disorient, but disorient and attack break to me are kind of in the same family, right? As long as it's there, then you won't get one shot by things, right? This is just extra damage, helps with preventing shield, but he's the cleanser as well, so in a sense it's cleanse plus the mortal wounds slash block buffs is kind of all for that kind of field, right? So it all just kind of sits there, right? So, and of course you got attack speed buff, which is amazing for all the Valks, Valk damage, and for both Valks damages, right? Yeah, so, let's see here. Okay, so let's get into meat of what I wanted to show. So I wanted to show updates to the monster box, because I think in the previous video, I showed monster box and started talking about mons, but I think, I don't know, maybe meta has changed or whatever. This can give the kind of update of what I think about everything. Now, everything I'm about to say is just my opinion, alright? So, like, I could be wrong about some of these things, and if I am, please leave a comment, let me know. I greatly appreciate it. I always want to, you know, always learn, always try to, continue to improve, right? So, anyways, so I guess we just go down the list. It's gonna be a lot of them. I have I got a lot more 6 stars since this last video, so I believe it is gonna be, let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10, 11, 12, 13 rows of 4. So that's gonna be what, 48, what's that, 52. I got 52 6-star mons, right? So now the reason I did a lot was mainly for co-op. Like I really like co-op, to be honest. Again, shout out to EG, Volley, Trouble, Saffons, Breezy, Deft, for all also really liking co-op, and for clearing Nightmare, right? So because that was a lot of fun. It made me feel like the WoW raids again, right? Like where you need voice chat, you need to be able to talk to people to clear the raid again, right? Like I don't know, you can't just queue in and then go into some. Well, I guess eventually you'll be able to once everyone learns how to do it, but for at least the initial clears. You know, you have to be coordinated, you got to figure out how to do it. So there's been a lot of fun. So, and in doing so, you do need some of the gear to clear it. And I guess I'll talk about that one after this. But there is the exhaustion, right? Once you clear it with one champion, your champion gets exhausted. So to me, that is incentive to build a bigger box, because it makes it so you build more mons, you can run more times, you have more chances of getting the gear you need to clear it. And ultimately, the progression that I see is if you can clear epic. Well, epics are, you know, you just clear to get the shards, right? In my opinion, the gear from epics is just whatever, right? It's lackluster. 4 and 5s, right? So if you can do legendary with a team, right? So you find your guild you've put together, and legendary still needs some coordination, and it's good practice for Nightmare, to be honest. If you can do near perfect legendaries, then you're ready for Nightmare, in my opinion, right? So, but what was I saying? So yeah, you just need the mods. Oh, the gear progression. So if you can clear legendaries, right, you can start getting hollowing gear. Resilient is good, and I'm sure there's a comp that can run Resilient, in the sense that if you had like everybody on Resilient, and then you had one monster with hollowing, but you don't have attack speed buff, then maybe that'll work, right? But what we found was basically you just need hollowed and an attack speed buff on one monster, and it doesn't even have to be that much faster, right? And then that one monster should be, if you're playing it right and you don't die that often, you're able to clear the hollowing stacks off of everybody, right? So that being said, the gear that I'm looking for in legend runs are basically the hollowed attack speed gear. Anything with attack speed on it. So of course attack speed shoulder, but then any substats of attack speed, I will just keep it, even if it's 5. And I'll show you guys some of the gear here. For example, like my fairy, I think this week's fairy has attack speed gear. Let's see. It looks bad when you look at this, right? It's got enough crit rate, it's not got enough attack speed, it's meh. These are all meh stats, right? But if you look here, we got hollowing here. 5, 5, 5. 5-star. Everything's 5-star, right? But attack speed 13, even attack speed 5, right? Attack speed 8, attack speed 5, right? I got this nice resilient shoulder on the first week of running co-op legendary with the guild, so I'm lucky for that. But again, you don't really need resilient. I used to use a resilient here, but I just wanted to up it to something that had attack speed, right? So I should really find a better bracer for him for this. But I mean, but this is, in my opinion, this is pretty much what you need for Nightmare. But anyways, we'll talk about Nightmare later. Let's see. Let's talk about the box first. So Cinnamon, Fire Candy Munchkin, good. Basically, I only use her for co-op, for extra run. You need damage. Her ult is good for clearing the boss. You need a parrot with a what do we call it, the defense breaker, because you don't have a defense breaker here. But if you time the ult right, so basically once the shield is about to be removed, hopefully there's a defense break already on the boss, and about 5 stacks is when you want to hit it, because the ult is a little bit delayed. So that's the pretty much all you need to. And then make sure that her buff is up. Personally, I like this one a lot. And to be honest, I really like the attack speed buffed Candy Munchkins, personally. Because I know if we talk like the blue one has raise crit, and then everyone's like, oh, raise crit, you get 15% free crit, so then you only need 70% crit. But in my opinion, if you do that, you're not running Adept, right? And this is an 11-second cooldown, right? So, like, it only lasts for, like, 6... I don't know how long it lasts. Let's say it lasts for half the time. Let's say it lasts 6 seconds, or 5 seconds, and this is a little bit down from whatever the guild stats or whatever, right? I mean, you still get 50% of the time, where then you're now running your attacker at 70% crit. So, because of that, I'm not a huge fan of these guys. Like, your damage will go in like a sine wave, if that makes sense, right? So that's why I kind of like these guys a bit more, because you get the attack speed buff and you just get the increased damage when it's there. I mean, I guess it's also sine wave, but you guys know what I mean, right? So, minor things. This is great for co-op, just for the escape, right? When the circles come down, all these escapes are really nice. I don't like it just because I'm used to everyone else pointing to where you're gonna dash to. Hers is you have to point away from where you have to dash to when you use it, right? So let's see if we change. And of course, the damage on this thing is great. So gear-wise, this is not like optimized gear or anything. I'm using, if I can, I use attack crit damage attack on these Candy Munchkins. I know people like to do attack. I think one of my mons has attack speed attack, just because I was running out of equipment. But to be honest, like, it seems like it all works, right? Like, what's optimal, I'm not entirely sure. Like, I know people will say, like, you should go attack because the scaling on the bonus damage isn't affected by crit damage, right? But if you take that out of the equation, you still get auto attacks in, right? So your auto attack is still going to crit. And my assumption is you guys know this, but why is crit and crit damage important? Like, why do people use that on damage builds? As per my understanding, it's because you have this innate 50%, right? You have innate 50%, you can get 80% on the, what do you call it, on this bracer, which is much higher than you can get on substats, right? Because it's a 7% increase per potential increase per proc on each equipment piece, right? So it scales really well, right? And it's basically free damage that they're giving to you, right? So in my opinion, crit damage is still viable on these Candy Munchkins, just because, like, you're still auto-attacking, right? So, I mean, yes, you got 2 that scale on max HP, but, I mean, the base auto-attack damage is still gonna crit, and you're still gonna get benefit from it, right? So, I don't know, this is just my opinion of it. I haven't done, like, a comparison test between the two or anything like that, and would love to see that if somebody makes it, right? But in my opinion, it works fine. And then I've been able to clear Legend Co-op with these Munchkins. No issue with these builds. So, yeah, anything else about Munchkins? Maybe I'll do it by family, right? If we do it by family, Blueberry is also good. She has the defense break and the crit, and we talked about some of that. The green one I am making now, again for co-op, right? I don't have all the skill ups in it, but you know, same comments would apply. And then of course you use these on the different weeks, right? Bonus damage on max HP, right? Raise crit. They're all basically the same, right? Where's my light one? There's a light one, right? The light one is done. Yeah, but I mean, I'm not gonna go into. I think the video will be very long if I go into all the little minute details of gear, and it doesn't really matter, right? Because really, I'm just gonna run for co-op, so it's gonna get run a little bit infrequently. So there's a dark one. Dark one is also done. So yeah, but yeah. Okay, let's talk about Dragon Guards. So Dragon Guards, I think are great. I use this a lot for SW11 farming before. Again, I mentioned water AA is made it a little bit more consistent for me. But I mean, if you're free to play and you don't have a water AA, use Dragon Guard. It's a great monster because you get the lower attack. It's pretty consistent on lower attack, and you get the defense buff. And these are super low cooldown, right? 7 seconds on these. So basically, you get perma on both, right? So assuming he's attacking. Right, so there's a time where the Steel Widow will drop the little circles, like the web circles, and then DG kind of gets stuck. He has to walk back a little bit. Yes, he can jump forward, but those are the times where you wipe, when he spits right after the circles come down, and then the DG is kind of out of the way. But what can you do, right? I haven't seen 100% consistent SW11 team yet from anyone, so if you got one, let me know. I'll try it. Of the other Dragon Guards, the only one I've built is the Dark One. There's the Dark One, Obelisk, Tormentor. Instead of defense buff, you get attack speed. So, honestly, I don't use this anywhere. I used this on my very first SW11 team when I was first farming it. And I do think lower attack speed is good, but I think it's just the defensive mechanics from MGs and AAs are just better, right? So this one, it is a noticeable decrease in time between abilities when the Steel Widow attacks. So, and I know a lot of people run Mojo for similar reasons, right? You run Mojo, you get the defense buff, you get the attack buff for your team, so you do more damage, and then you also get that attack speed break. The difference between them, in my opinion, are what's it called? This is much lower cooldown than Mojo's, right? So it seems to be up more often with Dark DG than with Mojo. So, but Mojo's so good. Mojo's king. So I haven't tried the others. I don't have the others built. But of the ones, I think this is the best one. Oh, gear wise, they are defense monsters, right? So all sturdy or sturdy plus an offset, however you want to build it. I had some good vital pieces. So a defense vital piece, and then I think yeah, HP accuracy vital piece here. So I just wanted to use it somewhere, so I threw it on this DG. So yeah, this is using a non-adept one. So I did see a little bit more consistency when I switched into adept for SW11. However, in my opinion, it's much better to use full defense for arena, because you don't need the constant spam. You don't need the oh Steel Widow just cleansed itself and you need to reapply really quick, right? There's no situation like that in arena, right? Well, I guess there's a lot of cleansers now, but still, like, if he's not on a full defense build like this, then he doesn't do the damage to kill the little squishies that some of the AOs will that the AO teams will run at you to clear your team. So yeah, anything else on Dragon Guards? I think that's about it. Yeah, let's talk about fairies. Fairy is my very favorited monster because of its use in co-op, and I pretty much only use it in co-op. In my opinion, it just sits as a it is just a damage dealer. I know it has disorient, and I'm guessing if you use it in ascended dungeons and stuff, the disorient is nice. But personally, I don't like putting accuracy on it just because of the scale. Like, fairies have the highest base attack speed in the game, right? So after playing with it and talking with guildies about the fairy lineup, I think the best rune set for, or the best equipment set for them is ideally rapid, right, for attack speed, but attack speed, crit rate, attack. So, and then I remember seeing, why wouldn't you want to use crit damage? Why don't you want to use the standard crit damage, you know, take advantage of the innate crit damage, right? Because he does get crit damage here, right? And the reason is, if you put a crit damage slot glove in this spot, you're forced to build crit rate on your other substats, right? Because crit damage is useless unless you have the close to 100% crit rate, right? Or at least 85, you get the element neutral. But look at this, if you have this 6 divided by the, what, you get 15 and 8, so you need 85, right? So let's say at least 4 pieces, right, need to be 20% crit rate for you to meet the thing. And for gear, you only get 6% max, 6% crit rate max proc per gear slot, right? When you're rolling for crit rate. So you're gonna take a lot of your substats to meet that requirement. And she is super duper scaling on attack speed, right? She's got 2 attack speed. She gets +1 with the attack speed buff, and then it just scales. Look, everything. Bonus damage based on attack speed, right? Bonus damage based on attack speed, and then yeah, this one doesn't. But they all get bonus damage based on attack speed, right? So really, for her, actually, it's this one, right? It's just her auto attack. So you put as much attack speed on there as you can. You put the attack speed in the subs. You get the crit rate just high enough so it crits all the time, and then you just use the innate as a bonus, right? So if I ran more ED, what do you call it? Yeah, Elder Drakes, I would have rapid sets, but I run Steward all the time. And in my opinion, you need so many adept sets. It's, for me, I don't think it's worth it because the only people I'd run on Rapid or Dazzling for Elder Drake are Dryads and the Fairies here. So since I have Mortal Gear, right? So just throw the Mortal Gear on there. You'll still benefit from the crit damage. I think it'll be a little less optimal. I think from what I hear from guildies, shout out to Trouble who tested a lot of this. The attack speed rapid with some crit damage on the side is a better build. He got more damage in Ascended dungeons, is what he mentioned. So, but I mean, if you're running Seawater all the time, in my opinion, it's fine. Like I can clear co-ops, no issue with these fairy builds. Right? So, but yeah, try to get past 4 attack speed min if you can for fairies. It's every fairy you get, in my opinion, is useful in co-op. You can use it in all the co-ops because you can break the shield, and then you can put a Hallowing set on them to then to really clear your team of the blight stacks that you get. So, and then I guess down the road it'll be nice for blighted, right? If you can get the blighted sets. So, there's my glam. Higher crit damage here. This is my man. The stats just go down for the Vim, for the water fairy. But again, I needed a Hallowing gear set here, so I put him on Hallowing. Let's see here. Nature one, Wink is good too. I got up to 4 good crit damage. Again, this is Mortal Gear, right? Let's see. I think the light one is a fast one. I have 1 rapid set. It's not amazing though. Still, like, it's just a 5-star piece, but at 24 attack, so I threw it on there. But there should be this piece even should have had attack speed and stuff like that. But 19 attack, right? 11, whatever, 42. It's not amazing, but it is the thing. And in doing so, it can get it up to 4.4, right? But look at this, no crit damage too. If you can get it to like 4.7 and then also get like a decent amount of crit damage, so God Fairy, right? So I think Trouble I've seen has that one. So. Anyways, I don't have the dark one, so I should have competed for it in the arena last week, but I don't know. My AD wasn't really cutting it last week, so I just laundry dayed my AD gear, so should be able to clean it up. Let's see, Greater Demons. I'm not gonna use him as the one I talk over. I'm gonna use this one because I got a light one. Oops. Brah. My pride and joy, my LD Net 5, Light Greater Demon. I couldn't ask for a better one, to be honest. Like, of course, I think it's the best Greater Demon, maybe biased, but stun on skill 1. I think you guys know this. AO is stun and cleansers, right? Disruptor plus cleansing. I'm sorry, plus stripping, right? Devour Magic strips all buffs, right? And it combos super well with his pull. He'll pull, he'll strip all the buffs, and he'll start stunning people. And then you just get the added benefit of a little bit more damage based on 8 HP and the additional block buff. Like, I don't know, the red and blue do the strip too, but they don't have the block buff. So really the only difference is the block buff on this this last ability. It's not that much crazier, right? So for all you oh, pay to win, whatever, I need this monster to clear whatever, right? It's such a it is helpful, but it's not game breaking or anything, right? So but again, since I have it, I built it, made it really good. What's my gear? This is the stats on this one. This is the one I use in AD right now. I used to have 100 accuracy, but I really wanted to pump up more defensive stats into him. So I just basically gave him as much as I could while keeping really high defensive stats as well. So like 90, 92 resistance, 61 accuracy seems to be working okay, right? But ideally these are a little bit higher, but I didn't want to lose out on these stats, right? So I'm using Adept Precise to meet those stats. HP, HP, HP. You can go crit rate here, but I feel if you're gonna go stall, you might as well just go all in on the HP. And it's not like he doesn't scale with HP damage, right? Like, where is it? Deals damage based on HP, deals damage based on HP. So it's, I mean, it's not the worst thing in the world, right? But if you're going stall defense, my goal is not to kill your team, right? Because if you also pull stall monsters into your AO, then if this is super tanky, then you'll have trouble dealing the damage, right? Of course, conversely, if you pull all nukes, right? If you go for YOLO against this team, my hope is just to survive against it. But at that point, that's the case where you'd want more damage on them, right? But I think since it still kind of works, he still does damage. Maybe it can clear YOLO. I think it's better you go tank. I don't know. That's his opinion, and this is just what I'm trying. And so far it's been working okay. So I'm just gonna leave him like that. I have the blue one as well. Oh wait, skill-wise. Of course I put all the skill ups into him. I think this makes a big difference for Arena. Just because, I mean, look at the damage. You get 35% damage, you get more time on the stun, you get 50% extra shield. Like, it's huge. I mean, all the scopes on these mons are going to be huge. 20% cooldown, plus 25% damage, and then just 20 damage, 20% cooldown. I don't know. It's helpful, right? I don't think anyone would say that skill upping a GD would be incorrect. Blue one and fire one are very similar. Again, I mentioned it doesn't have the block buff here, but basically does the same thing, and it provides the same role. And it's actually fun, because then you can pair them off, and then you get different elemental advantage situations, depending on how you want to run it. Last week I was running GD, light GD, red GD, and then the double cleanse. That was my AD. And, well, honestly, it didn't do as well as I had hoped. I think I fell down to 310 before I started seeing more consistent wins. So, well, I don't know. You don't need to go dual cleanse. If you go dual cleanse, maybe go to more damage. I don't know. I need to theory craft that a bit more. But they play the same role. I don't think you need two on a team, but they're there. I don't have the dark one, but I do have the green one. I haven't found a good use for him yet, just because he doesn't have the cleanse. I know people like him for AD for the lower attack, and then he does heal, so he can stay alive a bit more. But I don't know. I think there are other slots more important than the lowered attack for the same thing, right? Like, I'd much rather have the cleanse. I keep saying cleanse. You know, guys, I know I'm saying strip, right? So, but I mean strip. But I feel strip is more important than applying the debuff, because if you go against immunity, you can't apply the debuff, and then the odd elemental advantage with the lot of fire damage that's out there, the red GDs and all that jazz, right? But same thing, right? Mortal wound, stun, plays kind of the same role, but doesn't have the strip, so I haven't built him yet. Astromancers. Okay, so I'm not an expert on Astromancers. The only one I've built is this fire one, and this was for testing SW11. And quite frankly, I was using it for SW11 in place of Tenkoku before I built Tenkoku up. And it was doing fine, to be honest. Like, it cleared it about the same time. It has this nice lower defense, which I think could be helpful in the fire co-op mode later on. But and the self attack speed buff. Maybe it could be a Hallower. I'm considering this as a hallowed unit, and it doesn't make sense when you look at the abilities, because this is when it uses another skill, not based off auto attack damage. But it does make sense when you look at her attack speed. Look at that, 1.7 attack speed, right? Usually it's 1.5, right? And then it's not bad scaling on attack speed. So actually, and that's why you see I built her with attack speed here in preparation for co-op. Gonna try that out. But and she has the attack speed buff for herself, so I'm not quite sure how good it'll work, because I feel like her damage should come from her skills, especially with. But I still put her on adept, right? So I can get the skills out. But it seems weird to have an ability damage dealer with such high attack speed. So I don't know. We'll try it out for co-op next week. I know I've heard a lot of use about Stella, and I do have my Stella skilled up, and Gamma, which I believe are very similar, right? But personally, I haven't tried them too much, in the sense that you get this 100% ignore defense in Stellar Beam for clearing AOs. So I know Breezy and Trouble both use these on their AOs, and I do want to try it at some point. But I'm doing fine with AOs of PM, and I want to build Monster Co-op, to be honest. So I haven't built those yet. So those will be probably next rotation when I run out of things that I want to build for co-op. So they're coming, but just, I don't know, not priority for me. MGs. Oh, you guys know MG. MG is the queen. They're so good, I built 2 water ones here, right? So, and this was actually before I pulled a dark one. For the longest time I didn't have the dark one, right? I just couldn't get it. Which one did you get? I think dark was from 5v5, if I'm not mistaken. I don't play 5v5, right? So I didn't get that during the event or anything. And again, I'm energy whale, right? So I don't pull on the banner summons. I don't buy packs or anything. I don't buy the LD shards or whatever. So they just come as is. So that being said, I got the Yoko first, then I got the fire one, and then I got the dupe Yoko, right? So I started skilling those up. These are both max skilled. And again, mainly used in co-op. I use Yoko in AD, SW11, but really, really important co-op, because these will keep you alive. The ults are super important for when the dragon flies away. For this one, and dark. Where's my dark one? I just got dark last night. I was so happy. So there's Yua. So I'll get her up eventually. But really, for now, like I don't plan to use her anywhere other than co-op. So I have a couple weeks, to be honest. I don't have to rush build Yua here. So, but really happy that I got her. I need to get skill ups for her too. This is where I'm almost done with her. How many do I got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 skill ups left on the second Yoko. So, but yeah, she's amazing. Preferred runes. This is what I use for arena. So you can see, just again, beefiness. I wanted to make it as beefy as I could while maintaining the 100% resistance and 60% accuracy. So 60% accuracy, why? It depends on how you want to use her for actually accuracy and resistance when you consider her. To use her in co-op, her defense break is sometimes really important, because you need her as a healer. And sometimes that spot will then take the place of your defense breaker. So in order to land that defense break, you need accuracy on your mod. So for this ability, Ribbon Whip, right? Unfortunately, there's nothing else that really uses that accuracy, so it feels like a burn stat if you're just using her as a defensive monster, right? So if you're using her just arena and you just want to stay alive and you want to make sure cleanses go out, you don't care for killing things, or you use her for SW11 and you don't need to reliably defense break with her, aka you have like Xenia or you have a Rhoda or something, you could get away with 0 accuracy on her. And again, similarly with resistance, it's only for arena, right? You don't need the resistance in co-op, you don't need the resistance in SW11, so you could, again, beef up the other stats for these ones, depending on the usage. So how you build her is kind of up to you. You play with it, and depending on where you use her. And because of that versatility, that's why I wanted to build the second one. So my plan is to keep this one as my PvP one for the resistance and accuracy, PvP and co-op specifically. Make this one the SW11, where it's the 0 resistance and just beefy stats, right? So I don't have the runes yet. As you can see, this one is clearly better because it matches the HP, but then has the stuff. I guess this one's defense is a lot better, but I would like to change out the defense substats here for more HP substats, because why is that? Because this healing is based off max HP, and it just makes sure things are up, right? And then she stays alive. It's harder to kill her, right? Personally, usually always prioritize HP over defense because of defense break. There isn't a debuff that will just cut your HP in half, right? There is a debuff that will cut your defense in half, right? However, if you have defense scaling monsters, that's where you put defense, right? AKA Dragon Guards, AKA Basilisks, right? Things like that. I think you guys know some of this, so. So yeah, the other MGs we can talk about. I haven't built the green one. There's a green one. But I have seen good results from her from guildies for SW11 as your stripper, right? Doing an all-green team, using the Rhoda as the CDR lead, and then using this Ray of Justice for cleansing. And then, of course, you get this Inspire. But personally, I don't know. I have Sharma, right? So I have a easy mode available for me, so I just use Sharma. So I have no reason to build Hoshi here. But she's good. Who was it? Safon's. Saf uses this in his SW11 team for very consistent clears. So I did build the light one, but the light one I feel is a much more mediocre version of the green one. You see there are 0 debuffs on these first 2 abilities. It has the same cleanse, and then it has the same inspire. But here you get the OGD, and you get lower buff, lower defense, and block buff, right? Versus she just gets damage, ignore defense, and then guaranteed crit, right? So it's kind of, I don't know. She just feels, and I did build her on a damage build. Before I got Greater Demons, I was using Sharma as my stripper for AO, and then I tried using her, right? But it's just, she was just lackluster. She didn't do the damage, and then because this only removes 2 buffs, it wouldn't consistently clear targets. So. Oh, the cool thing, I don't know if you guys know, I think it's a bug, and probably get fixed. But this Inspire, usually cooldown lowering abilities can't affect other cooldown lowering abilities. However, for her and the green one, they do. They will affect each other. So I did test this with the light one, the green one, and then like I put Rhoda in and Xenia in just to see, and it did work. But I couldn't find a good cheese team to really make that a lot of fun. But I feel like there's a team out there for it, so just something to consider if you want to play with these mods. But I don't know. I think they're okay. I don't need it. They're alternatives, right? Vimal is a good alternative. Sharma is a good alternative. So especially because they have the built-in CDR lead and then the CDR reduction on Tech 1. So. Okay, Ink Ninjas. The only Ink Ninja I have is the Fire one, and the only place I used it was SW11. And it's kind of cool. It seemed cool. I'm not gonna talk too much on him. We'll see him again after the patch notes, or whatever the new patch where they buff these, right? But it actually worked fine. I used an SW11 fine, right? Mainly because of the mark, and then ability damage. Because I was using Sharma, and Sharma is helpful for reducing cooldowns, so you get a lot more of these abilities out. So it was cool. So really, it's for the mark. So I had Mark on my team. Fire Valk. I mentioned. Well, I used her in SW11 because I mean, you get a very low cooldown disorient, and then you also get lower attack on Thunderstorm. And Thunderstorm seems to be up a lot because 36, no CD reduction, but what is it called? This? You get the depth, you get your CDR lead. It just seems to always be up. What did I build him on? I built him attack speed, crit rate, attack. Yeah, of course. Because, again, another attack speed scaling one. So, again, similar to the Pixies. So, I feel in this game over Summoner's War, right? There are much more viable sets for crit rate. So, don't just throw out crit rate. Like, all of your attack speed scaling monsters will benefit from crit rate in the sense that you don't need to build your sub stats on your other runes. They won't have to be crit rate, right? They can be attack speed, right? So that is the benefit of using crit rate in the glove instead of crit damage. And I mentioned that and I said it before, so the same thing applies to the Valks here. So my Valks are very squishy because, again, I'm trying for faster SW11 clear time, so I just need to pump the damage into these as much as possible. Maxing crit rate. Really, because the damage is green, I don't need this much crit rate. I can drop 15 because you get the guaranteed from 15 from the elemental advantage. Restart music. Really good. Whatever. That doesn't matter. Yeah, you need accuracy on here. I pump damage. This should be at 60%, but again, this is where the stacking of multiple buffs or debuffs on other characters comes into play, right? Rhoda also does the attack down. Disorient falls in the same family of attack down, right? So the additional damage is fine for her, right? In my opinion. So ideally it's 60 though for all these dungeons. And if you really, I mean, I don't know. You saw the damage report. It was up for pretty long, right? Compared to her Glam 14, this is not enough, right? Because I would see that her Disorient was only up from this ability 5-second cooldown. It should be up a lot. It was only up like for 5 seconds at max, right? So when hers was up at like 20, if I'm not mistaken, something around there. And it's only a minute run, right? So it's gonna fall off, it's gonna get cleansed off, whatever. So her counterpart is Sigrun. You guys know Sigrun. I don't know Sigrun too much. I assume she's gonna play exactly like the Fire Valk, right? In the sense that she has, she's better in the sense that she has lower defense and lower attack here. But she's gonna play very similarly is gonna be my guess. I haven't built one, I haven't done it yet, but my guess is you want to scale attack speed, right? Because you got attack speed, right? So you're gonna do attack speed, crit rate, attack, and then put attack speed subs here, and then attack speed, crit damage subs as much as you can, and then crush things, right? I now understand why she's used a lot in Arena, because she is basically your defense breaker, and a pretty consistent one too, right? 8 seconds on lower defense, so even if it gets cleansed, you get it back pretty fast, compared to, let's say, a pirate who has it at, was it 11? Yeah, it's 11 seconds here, right? So, and this still feels wrong, even with school down, but yeah, you guys know what I mean. Let's see, we talked about those two. Oh, the other ones are also very important for Call. We'll talk Rhoda. I don't think I'm going to talk too much about Rhoda. You know Rhoda, right? Defense down, attack down, and the attack speed buff. right? This is huge. The attack speed buff for a lot of things, for co-op, for ascended dungeons, for any attack speed damage dealer, right? It pairs super well, right? Use Rhoda. Rhoda's great, right? But I'm not gonna talk too much about her. But everyone should know her for clearing all the ED10 guides and all that, right? However, Calda, I don't think Calda gets enough praise. Calda is really good for co-op. We were running a team. I have her on a hollowed build right now. We were running a nightmare clear. Where's my gear? Yeah, I got hollow set here. Defense, max HP, whatever. HP, attack speed, defense, HP on hollow, right? And I could solo hollow cleanse the blight stacks off the team with just her and her attack speed buff. And the benefit of her is that she's like the perfect co-op monster in comparison to the other ones, because she gets the haste buff instead of the CDR, because you cannot use the ability CDR moves in co-op. So it's just you get that, and that haste buff means that you can dodge things, right? If you didn't build any substats into movement speed, now if Tailwind is up, you can dodge things, assuming you're paying attention, right? Her other abilities are lackluster, right? The heal is nice, right? But attack speed, healing's based on attack and attack speed, so you go damage. The silence is nice, but really I'm gonna play her in co-op, right? So I don't really need these abilities. I'm guessing she's 5v5 Mon, so I'm guessing this comes more into play when you're playing 5v5, and I can see this being pretty good in 5v5. But from a co-op perspective, she just needs to auto attack, use Tailwind whenever it's up, and then maybe heal occasionally whenever things are dying. I will sometimes silencing bolt the ads. Like fairies this week are the ads, so fairies sometimes will jump, and it can be a pain if you're running BMs, where the BMs need to auto attack, melee auto attack, right? So silencing those will make sure that they stay in one spot, so your BM doesn't have to jump around. If the BM uses its dash to get to an enemy, then it can't use its dash to jump out of the circles, right? So I think it's such a minor point, but it's just nitpicky, to be honest. But she's pretty good for co-op. And then who's the last one that I haven't talked about? Dark One. Where's the Dark One? I have Scold here. I used this on my SW10 team before for a bit, because for SW10 you get a lot of dots. Basically the dot decrease in health rate is the same as a regen rate. So if you have a dot and a regen buff on you, you'll just sit at the same amount of health. So that was my way of getting around having a cleanser on the team, and then or getting additional heals on my team. She would be my solo healer for SW10. And I just go super YOLO to get the... I had like a 45 second team for it. I don't remember what it was. It's so long. Because I'm always running SW11s now. But really, yeah, you get the additional attack speed buff. You get the same lower cooldowns that Rhoda has, right? And then you also get the silence that the other ones have. So, good Mon. Good Mon. I don't know, gear. Everything's on Adept for these, unless you're going co-op and you're putting Hollowed on. But the Adept really makes it so these long cooldown, well, Tempest isn't on too long of a cooldown, but Calda seems to be forever. Well, I guess only 15 seconds, huh? I don't know. They still feel long. Well, I guess it's long. It feels long because I'm running Halloween and I don't have Adept. So if you have Adept on it and then you're running a CDR lead, you'll have it up all the time. Right? So let's see. I think that's it on those. How about Crude? Crude is a useless piece of junk. Blitz, maybe. You can use the Blitz trick if you want, but I built him for co-op the first week because I wanted additional damage dealer, but it just doesn't do enough damage. It doesn't hit enough because it's ability damage, right? And then, like, what's it? One of these is a spin. Is this a spin? Yeah, this is a spin. The spin doesn't do, it doesn't attack very fast, right? The procs of the spin doesn't attack very fast. So... yeah, he's terrible for co-op. Again, you can use him for Blitz if you want. to use the keep this up all the time, keep it undying there, but I don't know, it's not really my cup of tea. I can't find a good use. I think I stripped him. No, he's just got garbage gear. I don't care about him. So Shio, I'm not gonna talk about her too. I'm not gonna talk about Snake Lady. I don't use Snake Ladies anywhere anymore, but you can use them for the SW10, ED10s. I suspect you can probably still use them for Ascended, but I don't because they're only dot damage, right? And yeah, it's only dot damage. I don't really use them anywhere. I only built that one. I don't have the dark one. I know and people have put videos out on the dark one. I think dark one's still a lot better, right? So if you got the dark one, go ahead and use it. But yeah, I'm not gonna talk too much about Snake Ladies because I don't use them anywhere and don't have too much to say. So Timekeepers. Timekeepers are great. Of course, you guys know Timekeeper Manas here. Wonderful monster. Did I just jump? Yeah, I just jumped, huh? I've been jumping around a bit, but we'll come back. Manas, Vimal, and what do you call it? Sharma, all in the same boat, right? In the sense that they have, well, same but slightly. Of course, Sharma is the best of everything, right? It'll have the everybody has this this auto attack, which does the cooldown reduction. Everybody has a cooldown, right? For those two things alone, in my opinion, that makes them good, right? So if you just want to run one on any team, those two alone make these things good, right? Sharma has the additional benefit of the cleanse, right, and the OGD, right? So like it just makes, you can basically you just shove the Manas and the Vimal together and you get Sharma, right? Vimal only has a cleanse. Manas only has the OGD, right? But Vimal basically use in SW11, Manas SW10, right? You can just swap them back and forth depending on how you want to run, right? Again, I've changed my stance on these guys because they do good. They actually do good damage. I started to, if you look at my Sharma here, this is the main one that I use. It's on a damage build, like straight up attack, crit rate, attack, and of course accuracy, because you need that strip to land. If the strip doesn't land, then you're just gonna be sitting there for an SW11. But just the best damage sets that I could find for him is what I use from. A little bit of HP here, just so he doesn't die. That's HP. Yeah, so he's not so freaking squishy, but he is a squishy monster, but his damage output is not bad with it. Compared to something like Water AA. I put damage, what is it? Attack speed, crit rate, attack on Water AA, but just comparatively it's nothing, right? Like if you saw the damage charts before, he was like 300, it was matching the Rhoda, if I'm not mistaken, a little bit under the Rhoda probably in SW11, with the Fire Rhoda on top, Fire Valk on top. So, but great monster, right? What are the other two? Light Sharma, 5v5. I'm guessing it's. I don't know the tier list of 5v5. I remember this was good at one point. I played with it a little bit. It is good because it's got self heal, right? I was using it a little bit in the dark co-op dungeon because it does raise attack speed, and there's no other group raise attack speed in the game that is light. He's the only one, and it's not a good one because it's just you throw the blades, and it doesn't last very long, so you have to just keep throwing blades at the person that you want to raise attack speed for. So, in my opinion, I don't know what to do for Nightmare co-op yet for light. I'm playing with Derby Girl, I think. I think I'll build this for the Dark One to try it, because she has a self attack speed buff, and has decent, well, it's a standard attack speed, but she has self, and then she can heal, and the more hits she does, the more heal she does. The unit just looks lackluster, to be honest, but there just isn't any attack speed buffer for light, so light dungeon is kind of difficult to clear right now. Like, actually this past time we couldn't clear any legendary light dungeons at all, right? So it'd be just because the units are so sparse for light, for kind of what you need to clear it. So Okay, so we jump down here, but what haven't we talked about here? AAs. I mean, I can't talk too much about AAs because the only one I have built is the water one, but I did skill this one up recently. I got Guardian Angel up. And I did mention before, again, tell me if I'm wrong about this, but people say you don't need to run Adept on him anymore. But I still see 7 seconds, cannot receive again for 7 seconds, and I see 13 seconds here. So, if you got this closer to 7 seconds, isn't that a good thing? Like, my guess is if invulnerability runs out and then you have to wait 7 seconds, then it makes sense. But I don't think it's like that, because I've seen like 1 second go by and then I can use Guardian Angel again. So, I'm not entirely sure if I should be running him on Adept or not, but I feel like I should be. And I do, and am seeing success with it, right? So, I don't know. Explain it to me if you know. But of course, all the light AA is kind of similar things. Was it light has a shield instead of the invulnerability? Only water and dark have the invulnerability, right? The others have shields. They all have this jump that base does damage. Some of them debuff on the jump, but it's a disruptor, right? It runs in, disrupts people, and then it heals. Was it? Yeah, disrupts with silence, and then it heals, and then debuff removal. And that being said, since this is on auto attacks, right, I run these attack speed HP. Right? I did try the attack, crit rate attack, but it's not worth it. In SW10, my damage went from like 40,000 to 80,000 when I did that. Right, so it's not worth it. Don't go damage on him. Just stack HP. I would put the attack speed up because he scales. This scales on attack speed, and well, when this is up, then you get heals, more heals on the attack speed. Ella's great. Oh, do I have any other AAs to talk about? I don't think I do. Yeah, I don't think I do. I have light AA, but I never use him anywhere, so really don't know what to say. But same thing. See, lowers attack, shield instead. Yeah, I don't have much to say on light AA. Let's go to Ella. Ella is part of my core AO, because I think she's a nice counter to the Dryads that are in meta at the moment, because a lot of the Dryads are using Dazzling. And if you get immunity up, then you can rush them, and you can kill them before they can really do anything. So that's been my way of clearing that. I think the other Rangers are not bad too, though. What other ones have I built? I didn't build the green one. I built the light one. I only built the light one because this raise attack, and I didn't have Pirate for the longest time. So that's why I used the light one. But I don't know. I don't use it anywhere else anymore, and the damage I feel on all the Rangers just feels lackluster. I don't know. Like, if we look at the Ella, right? I think I put a pretty decent set on her. Look at this. That's attack crit damage, attack crit rate, attack crit rate attack. Where's the stats here? A lot of attack here. I mean, it's not a bad amount of crit damage, right? If I put crit damage on him, let's see, compared crit damage. Okay, double that of like a BM, but I don't know, max crit rate, you got a lot more attack than the BM. I don't know, it just feels like it doesn't do, I guess the health, I guess I made it a little bit tankier because it would get one shot by some of the AD, like the GDs. If it gets pulled, then it gets one shot, so I put a little bit of health on there. And maybe that is kind of an issue there, but at the same time, you also want the immunity up, so I don't know. If it did too much damage, and I guess the immunity would be broken, so immunity with a good damage dealer would be kind of broken. I don't know, whatever. But she's good as is, but she doesn't do that much damage, in my opinion. What other ones are worth talking about? I built that one. Let's look at because I know I skilled up the other ones, just in case, right? Raise attack. I don't see myself using her because we have Nature Pirate, right? so you don't really need another raise attack. And then ignore 50% defense, slow, just damage on a ranger. I don't think I'll ever use her. I built her just for co-op. I'm sorry, 5v5 maybe in the future, but I don't suspect I'll use her for any PvE content. And then the fire one, I do think I'm gonna build the fire one, because the fire one is the only fire unit that will give the attack speed buff to people, and I think attack speed is really useful in co-op, right? And if she's the only one, I think she's worth it. So I will eventually build her for Fire Week, but it's 2 weeks, so I got some time to build her. Yeah. Let's see. Did I cover all of them? Fire one, Ella, the green one we talked about, the dark one. Where's the dark one? Oops. There's the dark one. What does the dark one do? Raises attack speed. Oh, I'm gonna build her too. Just as a, she's like a damage counterpart instead of Valk, Dark Valk, for co-op. That's where I'd use her. Maybe. Again, I haven't done it yet, so this is just theory crafting and just thoughts, right? So, but you know, that's where I'd like to try her. So, okay, who else? Garai. Garai I don't use anymore, but he's I don't know, he's standard. You guys know him because he has immunity buff. ED 10. I guess. I don't have much to say because I don't really use him that much. I would like to try the light Garai, because I did get beaten by one. Who had it? I think it was Shuffles. Shuffles had it on his AD last night. I did lose one match against that. But it did feel squishy, too. So what I ended up doing to clear it was I put in a Sharma and GD, so I had more cleanses on my team, and then just ran over it with BM, and then it cleared it fine. So. But without the Sharma additional one, I was having trouble, because I think there was also a Dark MG there, so there was like the immunity and defense buffs, so it was hard to get defense break and then enough damage out in the small time when the GD would cleanse. But I don't know, whenever I see Garai, I just bring in extra cleanser, and then it's fine. So I don't know, I'd like to see a really good one, a really beefy one in an AD with the double cleanse, but I haven't really seen a great one with it yet. So let's see, I have no idea about the red one, the green one, or the dark one. I guess the things that I had heard, I think within Epic Family, let's see, Ansatz, I think he was playing with the dark one for a bit. I don't have the dark one, but the dark one is very similar to the green one, where the shield will scale based off defense. So in the theory that if you put a defense buff on one of these things and then it shields, the shield will be huge, right? So I haven't really tested that too much, but that was kind of the hype that I heard about that. And I remember him playing with the dark one, which has a similar mechanic, but I don't know too much about it. Something to look into if you have the dark one and you want to play with defense buffers and want to get a good shield on them. But I don't see a good use for them too much. I wonder if it's really high enough. I wonder if that could clear. I haven't seen it if it can defend against the Ascended Dungeons yet. I'm gonna guess no, but it would be something I'd like to see. Okay, BMs. BMs are gods, right? My most one in that 5 is Alia. Like, I think I've been saying that for a while now, because I could put that on SW11 and get a, I think I can get a little bit of a faster clear time because of the mark and the damage Alia brings, right? But I got a Rana, and I'm very happy with Rana. I definitely, skill ups are huge on these. Like, I remember farming, was it 6-1 with Rana as my main farmer. When I did it with no skill ups, it took like 45 seconds to clear that stage. But with skill ups, cleared it in was it 18 usually. So pre first block fall, you know, if you guys know that stage. Here's the gear. This is probably my best mortal set because I use it for AO and need her to just pump out the damage, right? Very squishy, but her damage is ridiculous here. So everything is legendary gear except for this slot, but even this slot is pretty good, right? So attack, crit damage, attack. Now, okay, I guess the only thing I can say about builds here is a consideration of attack speed or attack on the shoulder, right? So which one is better? I think it is situational. I think you can use them both, right? Of course, attack speed would be nice because it scales here. What do you call it? Based on attack speed, right? And then you also get more auto attacks, right? So you get benefits in co-op, you get benefits in burst damage for AO. But if you go attack, then just base hits are higher, right? And I don't know, it feels like the sustained damage for him is better. So that being said, because I'm on a mortal set, right? And I'm not trying to push... Well, I am trying to do abilities, and the abilities still hit really hard. I'm not running Adept, right? If I was running Adept, then I would be more ability-focused damage, right? So, my feeling, now, and again, haven't tried this or anything, just from a theory, is if you're running Mortal, I would run attack, crit damage attack. If I'm running Adept, I would probably run attack speed, crit damage attack, right? So, I don't know, just a thought. I have Malika too. I don't have him skilled up, so the only place I use him is co-op. For Rana, I use her in co-op and AO. So, and I used to use Rana in SW10. So, but now I can't because SW11 is what do you call it? It's green, and she dies. She's very squishy. So, the Malikas are cool. Built another one just for co-op, so I have another Malika to use for the runs. But again, nothing crazy. I think I'm using the same same gear: attack, crit damage, attack. Yeah. Attack, crit damage, attack. Right. So again, because I have a ton of. Oh, I saw Vamp. Vamp. Yeah, Vamp works too. Vamp or Mortal. Vamp or Mortal, it doesn't matter. It's co-op, right? If your mechanics are good in co-op, you can survive Legendary, in my opinion. If you can dodge circles, your team is good, you get the MG ults when things flies away, you'll be fine in co-op, right? So, I need Alia, so I can't show Alia, and I have Light or Dark, so nothing to talk about there. So, Sims we talked about, Zircon, I'm not gonna talk about Zircon. Zircon's... If you need an immunity guy, get the Garai or the Ella. You don't need Zircon. Zircon's kind of meh. This is a this is actually my second 6-star, just because immunity was really strong in ED10. And I remember pre-fix where you couldn't spam it. I would run ED10s with Zircon, and I would just be spamming immunity. So that was I'm glad they fixed it, but still, you don't need him. It's better go to the other guys. Pixies we talked about. Diva. Diva is cool. Diva, primarily use her for AO, right? I don't use her for I used to use her for AD for stall teams, but I don't think she brings enough to the table for AD anymore. For AO, in our guild we have the thing called Diva Cheese. Right, that's what we call. Basically, you open the match with the ult. Right, basically you run in, you stun everybody, and within the stun time, you should be able to kill everything. Right, so that is the Diva Cheese strat per se. So if you ever refer to, or if I ever say Diva Cheese, that's what I mean. The green one is a lot of fun. I mentioned I use her in AO as well because she's like the fire one, but like a defensive fire one. If that makes sense. She has a heal. And she can still cheese. She can still Diva Cheese. It's a silence, but it's not as strong as the blue one's stun here. But you get better first and second abilities, in my opinion. Because I don't really know if Starstruck is doing anything, and this is a healing ability, right? Whereas this is actually giving a solid debuff. Like Disorient is really nice every 4 attacks, and this makes it bounce, right? So like To me, this is not for damage dealing. This is for applying Disorient to the whole team, right? And correct me if I'm wrong. I haven't seen it, and I haven't really dug into it, but I don't think there is an AoE Disorient monster right now. So, I think she's the only one, if I'm not mistaken. But the other cool thing about her... Oh, I'm sorry. It's not her, but the red one has a 1.7 attack speed. So that is kind of cool. You can do some attack speed scaling things with her. I think she does do some attack speed scaling? No, she's just accurate HP. However, because of this, every 4 attacks, and because of this, the bouncing of the Disorient, I did put attack speed on her. Like, she's attack speed HP, I think. Attack speed HP. Yeah, so, like, I'm pretty happy with her. Like, she can heal off a lot of the damage that comes in. You can still Diva Cheese, and then you can also prevent things from one-shotting your Squishy Mon. So, like, I'll pair her with Squishy Mons. Like, let's see, probably GD just because you need the Stripper, right? And that's the best Stripper. But in the sense that I can run Ella, then BM, and then... Oh, I'm sorry, you can't run Ella. Like, Ella Pirate would be great with her, and then I would take that. You can take that against the fire teams, right? Because you can apply the Disorient, assuming they don't have immunity and things. I don't take her against immunity. That will stop her from being helpful because the Disorient won't land, right? But yeah, fire one from guildies that I've heard is lackluster, but I don't know. I really want the fire one as a defense breaker for AO. Like, I would just replace Pirate, I would replace MGs for the... Usually I'm using Pirate or MG as my defense breaker in AO. But I would totally use that as a potential AO defense breaker. Because basically it's the same mechanic here. Every 4 you get a defense break. But then, and then you get the bounce. Or, yeah, you get the projectile bouncer here. However, you can't Diva Cheese with fire. Fire is just damage on the ult. However, I saw big numbers, if I'm not mistaken. Like, if you paired it with a Pirate, I think I saw, let's see, Saf was able to get 50k hits? Or it was Saf or Volley, I don't remember. They both have it, and then we're trying it, but just seems lackluster from the feedback that I heard. So, I want the light one. Light one looks really cool. I'm not gonna say too much, but it's got the strip, it's got the cleanse, it's got the heal. So it seems really broken, right? And it's Starstruck on the ult, so but I don't know, whatever. Who's next? Greater Demons we talked about, MGs we talked about, Valks we talked about, Crude, yep, okay. Mojo. King Mojo. I don't use them anywhere. I know people use them at SW11, and then of course SW10. It's got good stuff, right? You got the attack speed break, you got the Disorient, and you get the it's Shannon, right? It's Summoners War Shannon. But personally, I don't use them anymore. I'd like to, we really wanted to use him in Water Week, but we just couldn't fit him into the team because it's helpful but not critical, right? So. MKs, this is new. I don't have anything to say about him yet, because I only built this green MK because of the upcoming MK buffs, and because in Water Co-op Week, the Baldragor can apply regen to himself. So, my hope is that with the patch, his damage is increased on some of these skills. And then you can use the monkey tricks to dodge some of the stuff, some of the the mean skill shot things, and then you can use overhead toss to cleanse the regen buff. That is my plan for using it. Will it pan out? I don't know, and I'm really curious. But this is my way of I just wanted to prep it for evaluating the MK buff that's incoming. Right now, I don't use him anywhere, so. Pirate. I don't have Dark Pirate. But really, the only ones I see is Dark and Green. And really, it's just for Galleon usage, right? For lower defense, raise attack, right? This one is nice for co-op because you get the multiple hits on the ult. This is good for the dungeons for the OGD, right? but and then just damage. Because of these things, deals bonus crit damage on critical, right? Things like that. I build them kind of YOLO with accuracy, right? So I think attack, crit damage, and then accuracy. Yeah, you could swap this attack if you don't need as much accuracy. But because I usually use him in AO too, I want 100 accuracy on him. Make sure that the defense buff lands when it can land, right? So in hindsight, I should potentially try him on a little bit lower accuracy, but whatever. It's Galleon. You need it to land, right? So Rhodas we talked about. Oh, Siege Tower. Siege Tower was in my first SW11 team and is so good. Tanky daughter, right? I prefer Siege Tower over the Snake Ladies personally. Maybe it's because I have it skilled up. I have a max skilled Siege Tower because this was like my first worthwhile Nat 5. So, oh, I'm missing one here, but it doesn't matter. In hindsight, I kind of regret the skill ups I put into her because I don't use her anymore now. But and if you really look at it, it's not really critical for what she needs to do. She just needs to stay alive, and then get the ongoing damage down when she checkmates here. I guess it's nice here because if this is up, then her shield will stay intact. And then you can get these debuffs. But you can get these at other places. Like, slow isn't helpful in dungeons. Only the attack speed down is helpful, right? So, and you can get that on Mojo or Dark DG, things like that. So, I don't use any of the other Siege Towers. I don't have a blue one. I have 2 red ones here, but I mean, stun, I don't know why they did this. Because the thing is, when I was playing with this a little bit in... what do you call it, co-op, because I think, is it co-op? It has a defense break? Yeah, it has defense break here. But this thing won't change targets, so I don't know why they did this. Like, whenever the cannonball hits wall or reaches max range, it stuns, right? So really you need one to stun an enemy, and then you need her to change targets and stun another enemy to make it good, right? But it doesn't do that. She just attacks one enemy. I guess if you were to micro it, maybe you could do it, but it's not worth it for the stun, in my opinion. Maybe it is. I haven't tried it, to be honest, but it doesn't look worth it for the stun. Maybe the stun, then you rush them, you get the defense down, and then you can just nuke that one target. Maybe. I could potentially see it for AO, but I don't know. I haven't tried it or anything. It's meh. So I don't have the light, I don't have the dark, I don't have the... Yeah, okay, so that's it. We talked about this, I'm not gonna talk about Xenia. You all know Xenia. Heal, nuke heal, plus your stun, plus this cleanse. It's a great monster. I don't use her anywhere, but I know a lot of people like to use her in AO, right? I could see, if I were to use her, I would replace my GD with her. Maybe for a more healy AO comp, but I think it's you don't need it. We talked about this. Crowhag is garbage. Used to be good before it was broken. Before when it was broken, but then they fixed it and it's garbage. I did try, like I put it on depth set, and I put like I tried a bunch of different builds, but I couldn't get it to work. If you all have a good Crowhag build, let me know. But I could get this working. We talked about fairies, we talked about GDs, we talked about those mercs. Oh, I'm so disappointed with the mercs. Like, I built the light and the dark because they both have kind of the opposite effects. But there's no way to really see if it's working or not. Like, you don't get a buff for this thing. So I don't know if it's stacking up, and I don't know if it's on auto attacks that it'll clear the buff to do the next damage. I guess next damage dealt would be auto attack, or if you wanted to save it for just the abilities. I don't know how to pair it well, right? And same on this one, like next damaging effect. If it auto attacks too fast, it's not that helpful. So I don't know. And then really, my concern with them is the base stats. Look at this; it's so low. I guess the defense is okay, but it's, I don't know. It just doesn't really... I don't know. I couldn't get these working well. This is what I'll have to say. I was really hoping the defense one would work for Ascended Raids 15s to just help prevent the one-shots, but it doesn't. And similarly here, the additional damage is not noticeable when you add Iona to the teams. So, big disappointment for me. If y'all know how to use them, let me know. Put a comment below, because I have no idea how to use it. So, Sharp Scale, I did a video on this, and to me it's lackluster, because this doesn't last long enough, right? Legendary Mortal Wounds is cool, but because it doesn't last long enough, and it is not a replacement for Defense Break. It would be cool if it was, but this either needs to be longer for it to be a replacement for Defense Break, or well, it just needs to be longer if you want to use it as a replacement. Because this one, if it lasts like 2 seconds, it falls off, and then they get the heals off on that monster, then all that time that you put into getting Mortal Wounds on the target in the first place is useless, right? So even though this is low cooldown, you still have to wait 3 attacks before it'll hit. So you cannot be stunned. Like, you have to be able to hit the target. You have to be able to use the ability, then attack 3 times, and then it hits, right? So I'm a bit disappointed with this. Like, I don't think it's at least top 30, top 10, top 30. I mean, I think I have a video. You can see that old video that I did on Sharp Scale, and I was clearing it, but like, I mean, I was still relying on Blade Master and Pirate for the defense breaks and everything. And to be honest, somebody put a comment, which I kind of agree. It turned into just a Blade Master Pirate video, right? Like, because I was still using them to clear things, right? It's not like this is a game-breaking monster for anything. That and this dive, right? Because it'll open with dive, it'll just rush the enemy, so then all the enemies will target it. And then usually there's a diva on the team, or some form of stun, or the violet stun. As soon as he gets stunned, he can't apply the legendary mortal wound, so it just doesn't. I don't know. I think I don't know. I think he needs some work, or I don't know how to build him. So, but yeah, that's what I think on that. I haven't built any of the other ones. I haven't looked at any of the other ones. So. Lei, I used her. I used her for the first time I did Blitz for the first time, and she's fine. But I mean, you can use other things, right? The only thing she has is a group defense buff, right? Like that's it. I guess group defense haste, but I don't know. For Blitz, you don't need haste, right? You just need to be able to choose priority targets for Blitz. You can use whatever. The darker red MG is better for defense buff. The red DG is better for defense buff. So you don't need Lei here, but she's kind of, I don't know. As Jit would say, was it fat Moana or something? Yeah. Anyways. Let's see here. CM. Dark CM. I mentioned CMs before. Dark Dino. That's an interesting one. I skilled this one up just because I got it as 4-star. I wanted this to be cool. I think I said it in the past. I wanted to use this with red Ink Ninja, because as the AoE mark, and then the Ink Ninja does the ignore defense based off marked enemies, but too slow. It all just applies way too slow. And then, okay, then as a secondary thought, I was thinking maybe I don't need to bring in an attack buffer, and I use him on manual, and then just get close and do the ignore 50% defense. And this kind of worked initially for like less geared AD defenses. So, for top 10, top 30, this stopped working. So. It was a fun toy, but nothing crazy. I wouldn't use him in anything really serious. Violet. Did we talk about Violet? Violet is AD. I mean, this cleanse is amazing, right? Because you put it there and it just keeps cleansing people, and because of that, can't keep defense breaks up for very long, and then it's great for AO. Right, I think Crip uses too. He uses the Dark and the Light, and I lost to him last night too because of that. I mean, you can clear it by I cleared it by Diva stunning, Diva cheese plus Ella. Then you can clear That's a counter to Dryads, in my opinion. But because of that, if you don't know that though, like, and you just take your standard team in, like, you can't defense break anything because this Purifying Bloom. And of course, I use Adept because I prefer the cleanse, right? I want the cleanse up more often, but other people use Dazzle on them, and I understand why, because it does stall it. Like, basically, a Dazzle on a Dryad makes it so that you can mess up your opening. You can mess up your Diva cheese per se, because if they put the stuff right in front of your Diva, then it'll get stuck. Sometimes it'll interrupt. Well, you'll get stuck. Then you can't dodge the GD pull. That's usually paired with these teams, and if the GD pulls you, then you will it'll cancel your ult, your Diva ult. So that's what I've seen, and that'll mess up the intro, and then that'll mess up the Diva cheese. So, but at the same time, you can also counter that by taking your Diva and moving them to the top, and then pushing forward, right? So, Mercs, we talked about Naga. Ugh. I wish this was good. The thing just looks good, right? You can transfer buffs, right? You get blind, you get the shield, but the thing, my issue is, if I were to use them on an AO, I'm really gonna use them for this Tidal Scourge. And Tidal Scourge moves so slowly. I think I've said this before, but like, this is my biggest issue with Dark Naga, right? Is because this goes so slowly, everyone has used their abilities by the time this hits, and then it removes the buffs. So I want this to be a lot faster. Maybe do less damage, but just remove everything faster, so I can come in, clear everything, and then cleave. That's what I want to use him for. I want to see him for that, but right now he doesn't work like that, so I don't use him for anything. So. Valk we talked about, and this we talked about. So I think that's the box. I think, and I've probably been going for like forever, but I'm gonna look at potentials. Rona is a nice stripper. I didn't really talk about her, but SW10 stripper, and my guess is because she'll push up to SW15 if we ever get to the point where we farm SW15. But this is amazing. None of the other Crow hags have this. But remove a buff and apply OGD. This is ridiculous for SW10 because you need to clear those buffs. And it does more damage while you do it, right? And then the thing has a shield, so this will break shields. Like, this is the perfect cleanser, to be honest, for SW10. And when I was running SW10, I wish this thing was out. But whatever, you know. Stella we talked about. We'll reevaluate MKs when they come out. Don't care. I don't care about any of those. Dupe ST. I'm kind of thinking about using a Dupe ST for ED11 pre-flight, but I heard that you can't get enough damage for the ad phases if you do that. You can get pre-flight in, but it's still like 140 because ads take forever. I don't know. So eventually I'll build Lily, but I don't know. The thing with the other downside with the Dryads, when I was talking about earlier, is just base stats. Like, let's look at Violet's base stats. Look at that. I don't know, 2600. It's I don't know. It's just meh. Like, comparatively, I was able to get the other ones much higher. Like, let's see. Or 25, right? 22, right? So I don't know. I guess it's not that much off, but well, I don't know. That's 10% higher on that one. 25 was at the 25% higher. So I mean, it just feels a lot squishier. Like, that's why of the cleansers, Violet's always my first target when I go against AOs. And if that fails, then I'll try the MG. Maybe it's geared less well, but I'll typically, because of that, Violet's the first target for my AO runs. So. Fox Assassin. I have her skilled. I hear a lot of good things about her, but personally, I don't use her for anything, just because I have the GDs for the strip. So, but if you don't have GDs, this is a good strip alternative. What else? I pulled this. It looks cool. Once she's all skilled up, I'll build her just to play with her. Like, this looks fun. AoE Fear. But I don't really see it synergizing anything crazy. Like, maybe another synergizing with another defense buffer. Maybe with like a double strip, double defense down team with some control. Maybe, I don't know. But where's the damage come? Well, I guess damage comes from having defense buffs up, and then I don't know. Seems meh. We talked about him. Yeah, she looks better than the light one. But again, I don't see a real need for it, just because you get the lower defense. But I don't know. It's and the fear. Maybe try her for AO at some point as a defense breaker. But yeah. And she also kind of looked cool. But I don't know. I heard mixed things about her. She has a lower defense and then the raise attack speed, but I don't know. I don't need her. Don't really have a. Don't see a clear use for the triple OGD stack and anything. So SW or I don't know, Ascended Raids maybe. I don't know. But I've never played with her. So yeah. What else can we talk about? My list. Oh, wanted mons. Let's see, collection here. So I'm gonna turn off the unascended. My wanted mons. Of course, I'll take any LD map 5, as anybody would, right? But really, what I'm looking for to move forward in progression for me, which would be like speeding up SW11 or just more co-op stuff. Alia. Need Alia. I like her, Fire Diva, as a defense breaker, because she's an AoE defense breaker. I mentioned it before. I don't have the Ink Ninjas, but I don't care. I think that may change once the Ink Ninja buffs come out. ST, don't really care, because I have 2 green ones, but I don't know. The blue ST is better than the red, because it also has the dots, right? So, oops. Let's see. I think that's it of the neutral colored ones. I would like a Dark Fairy, because fairies are god in co-op. I would like a Dark Pirate, because you can also use in co-op. I think that's about it. Everything else I got. The Light Basilisk would be fun to play with. But most everything I got, yeah, that's it that matters. Yeah. This one. This one looks so cool. Move 1 buff. Move 1 debuff. Damage. Anyways. So yeah. 3 mons. Alia. Dark Pirate. Dark Fairy. I really should have gone for Dark Fairy in hindsight this past couple weeks. I really should have pushed it, but oh well, whatever. It happens. Okay, let's see here. What else can we do? I think that's about it. I think I've talked long enough. Have I talked long enough? I don't know. Any summons? I'll do I'll do my 1 summon for you guys. It might be anything. Hey, another hack. See, I got everything, so the summons are stupid. So, shards? I don't have enough shards. Oh well. Alright. Maybe to leave it off, let me do this for you. Here's a quick recording of, let's choose one that is interesting. These are co-op runs, right, that we did. So neutral, this was kind of our comp. Basically using Daz, and we have MGs for protecting us. You got a attack speed buffer, and then you just have a Daz for hollow, right? So, actually, you know what? I'm not gonna show this video. This is gonna make this video too long because what do you call it? I have the raw footage up there, and then we may have something fun coming soon from a co-op perspective. So I'm not gonna talk too much on co-op this time. So I'm gonna go back to that and close that one. So yeah. So I think that's it that I got. I just, because, again, thank you all for watching, spending some time. I hope this was helpful. Of course, leave some comments. I'm always open to the feedback. I'm not perfect at this game. I don't expect to know it all, and like to hear more thoughts on it. But this is what an account can look like if you spend 1 million energy on this game. That is, I guess, the purpose, and I guess the milestone achievement that I want to highlight in this, because I should really sleep more. Huh? So anyways, yeah, thanks for watching. Bye.